meaner.
Yeah.
What's your first name again?
David.
David.
Yeah.
That's a compliment, actually. I love that show. Wasn't it? When I was young, I used to
It was a
watch
good
all
show.
that. So the tap.
Welcome to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, well-known radio, CBS affiliate, Vern Glenn, KPIX TV in San Francisco. Bruce McGowan is off today. Today's show is going to be very special because of our guest, professional boxer Paul Nave, a.k.a. the Marin County Assassin. So make sure you stay tuned. Also, at each commercial break, we're going to be asking a sports trivia question where we're giving away vacations to the first three callers with the correct answer. The vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina. The vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover those housekeeping expenses. Their website is lighthouseresortandmarina.com. You can listen to Sports Econ 101 on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Sports Byline USA, and CRN. Also want to mention about Walking with Dinosaurs at the Arena Spectacular, December 25th to 28th at the SAP Center in San Jose. And today's trivia theme is NFL players by position. Stay with us. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments that are currently yielding 8% secured by real estate. It doesn't get any more conservative than that. Check them out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Okay, so that's going to be our first. Usually I would have recorded, but now I'm just going to. All right. Okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
With boxing royalty.
We sure are.
Seated to my left
is Paul Nave, the Marin County Assassin.
He is.
And his trainer, Homer Hall. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I've seen it firsthand. We're working these guys, seeing these guys work in the corner. I mean, you got Homer just kind of working them, and you got my boy Paulie in there just duking it out.
Yeah, now
tough left hook.
Now, I didn't give him quite credit in the first segment about his accomplishments, so go ahead. Spring it on us. Go ahead, get close to the mic.
Former world champ, beat three-time world champion Greg Hogan, and four-time regional champion.
Is that all?
Hopefully that's enough.
No, that's enough, for sure.
Hey, for one of those bouts, I was the ring announcer.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah, man. I go back a long time. Long time with these guys.
Was it an important ring? The specific?
Yeah,
ring?
man. It was a hell of a fight. Yeah, it was huge.
Was it the one that was the decisive one?
Was it the first one or the second? Was the second one?
Three times.
Yeah.
Three times.
Yeah.
It was a draw, but back in 1999.
Oh, but let me tell you something. Where this goes deeper, and I don't know, Paulie's kind of he's kind of gee golly shocked sometimes on this, but to get these bouts off. I mean, this isn't like the ESPN truck that backs up with a crew of like 50 setting up the lights and all the sound and all the doing all the pre-fight interviews and whatnot. No. I'm seated next to a guy that not only is the performer, he is the matchmaker, he is the ticket man, he gets the venues together. I mean, there's so much involved, and if he has any time, then he gets to train, and that's where Homer comes in. Would I be accurate, guys?
Yeah.
And Homer, for you, I mean, just for the folks that just don't know boxing, I mean, when you get Paul, okay, this is at the very beginning. Let's say it's, I don't know, a couple months before the bout. I mean, he's this raw talent, okay, full of hopefully a lot of muscle and in condition, and then he puts himself in your hands. What do you do from that point?
Well, from that point we strategize a lot. We work on technique. We do a lot of just things that Paul has done over the past and what works best for him. And we try to come up with a plan.
I love that voice. He sounds like a trainer.
Oh, yeah.
And with Paul, it's easy because he's very coachable, but, he's intense. So we have a lot of fun.
Well, I like his spirit because you got a good, humble spirit. You don't have this cockiness. Yeah.
And the other thing in this prep work, you guys don't have the benefit of film work for your opponent. It's not like you got 10, 20 bouts and they got your face. I mean, you have to know them. I mean, I'm sure you get some intel on it, but it's got to be hard to replicate, right?
Yeah, well, with Paul, it's, he's the fearless warrior. So you know, if you're in there,
Is that another nickname, the Fearless Warrior?
if you're in there with Paul, you know,
If he
you
says
better
so.
bring your lunch because it's gonna be all day.
Yeah, you know those Terminator movies where he just won't stop. I mean, you can like
Yeah.
hit him, you just got tear him apart. Whatever, he keeps crawling.
Yeah.
That's Paulie.
Yeah, that's the thing is you have the endurance, right? I mean, isn't that one of your
Hopefully.
strong? I mean, that's one of your
No,
strengths.
I have
right?
experience. I've fought 12-round fights, luckily, so I know what it takes, definitely.
Yeah, he can go the distance.
Well,
Just
Bernie
ask the
said-
ladies.
Yeah.
Just make sure you get a little closer to the mic. We want to make sure we hear you.
We need to keep him away from
Well, that's
I hear that. By the way, I hear that as an old wives' tale, so to speak. That
I know,
that
Muhammad Ali.
like the night before, like you can't stay away. I mean, is it true?
Muhammad Ali
Not a
said
good idea.
2 months.
Even if it's mental.
He went 2 months without
2 months without
pitching
extracurriculars. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Women weaken knees. Remember that from Rocky?
2 weeks is more than enough.
Hey Homer, now
Maybe 2 months.
here's another one, Homer. This might be for some of the younger boxers that are out there, and I know Paulie's really good at this, but maybe for those that aren't, can you share with us about the importance of nutrition?
Well, it's good to have a balanced diet and, you know, to eat smart and stay away from the junk foods because that, you know, a lot of that has to do with building muscle mass, you know.
Yeah.
So you need to eat the right proteins and, you know.
You do the raw
just,
eggs?
Yeah. Just,
You do
just eat
I've
healthy.
done it all in
pretty
my
much,
life.
Yeah.
Not lately.
No locusts, though, you know. That was that one guy we were talking about arm wrestling before you got here, and that's what the one guy used to take a bunch of grasshoppers and he'd try to fake out intimidate his opponent. He'd eat a bunch of grasshoppers. Yeah, if you don't get sick, that'll help you. In fact, one of the questions I was going to ask you here is how do you quote make weight? Why don't you explain what that actually means?
Oh boy, most people walk around at a certain weight, and I used to walk around in 170s and fight 140s, and years later 180s and fight 147. At any rate, for the first time about 15 years, I personally, as I've gotten older, I know how much harder it is to lose that weight as you get older. So I've kept my weight to 60, so I'm skipping a jump first time in years. But normally, you got about 25, 30 pounds to lose, and it's a lot of work, and you got to start eating right and not eat as much. And believe it or not, they always say the carbs, it's all fat. No, you need carbs when you're training. You know, you got fuel, and you burn it right off.
Now, let me ask you, when you're doing pull-ups, you can notice that you can do a lot more pull-ups when you weigh a lot less. It's amazing, right? It's amazing.
Running too, lighter on your feet, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we kind of had this when we were doing this training session prior to the first 3 or 4 fights. You know, I was like, man, we training real hard, and it seemed like he was gaining weight. I was like, man, we got to do a few extra rounds to take some weight off too.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Lots of cardio.
Yeah, all kidding aside, though, I mean, Paul, in a lot of these bouts, I mean, you're fighting guys that might be twice as young as you are, although you got a body of like a 20-some-odd-year-old guy. I mean, as far as working yourself and conditioning yourself and taking care of yourself. But I mean, to match these guys that are just working on maybe natural stamina. I mean, where you got to like work at it a little bit more. That's just another challenge, right?
No, it's definitely another challenge. It takes me a lot longer to get that type of shape that I need to get in. That just because of age. So,
But tell the audience how old you are.
I'm 54 years old.
54. That's George Foreman fought when he was 60, right?
No.
No?
47.
47.
Is that all he was?
Yeah.
For some reason I thought he
Won
was
the
60.
world title. 47.
George was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the record, he's the oldest active fighter in California.
There you go.
That's right, yeah, because he had a fight not too long ago.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I loved about George was he named his 6 sons George. That way, when you say
Oh,
George,
yeah.
take out the garbage, at least one of them.
Well,
Yeah, they all looked up.
Now, there's a big difference because I'm actually licensed. It's under the California State Athletic Commission sanction. There's Mickey Rourke, for instance. I think he's 61, 62. Just fought, but it was in Russia and it was an exhibition, not licensed professional fighter here in the States.
And I would imagine, doesn't that present yet another challenge? I mean, you know how closed-minded, I'll say it, maybe you can't, I don't want you to get in trouble. You know how closed-minded some of these boxing commission guys are, right? They see a 54-year-old coming up, they're like, this guy can't do it. You know, without even seeing
yeah.
you.
What do they put you through?
Although they put us through a lot originally. Once you were over, gosh, it used to be 36 years old, you had to get special, different type of things that come back after 10 years. And when I did, when I was 47 years old, anyhow, I came back and I had to go through a treadmill. I had to go through a neurological that was more intense. Same thing with a couple of the other type of tests. Every year you have to get your physical, your blood test, and your eye test. It's narrow in California.
Well, at least you don't have to pay for an extra.
Brain scan.
At least you don't have to pay for an extra physical. Anyway, stay with us. We are in the studio with not only Paul Nave, world-class champion boxer, but also his trainer, Homer Hall. We're going to cut to the first commercial break here, and again, the theme is NFL players by position.
Okay, go.
Okay, which defensive tackle registered 46 and a half sacks from 1997 to 2000? The first three emails, with the correct answer, going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Email edward@sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. Which defensive tackle registered 46 and a half sacks from 1997 to 2000? I see Burns' eyes go up and to the left. That means he's thinking hard.
I am, man.
All right. Okay, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
97 to 2000.
Tough. Yeah, it's a time limit.
97 to 2000. Yeah, I got to think about that.
Probably.
Tackle the boot. Everybody's Googling right now.
Yeah.
They're going to get that little camera.
Don't worry, I'm not looking it up.
I was teasing about that. I go, stop looking on the internet.
I'm going to plug this phone in.
Deacon Jones and Merlin Olsen.
Not in those days. You got to go back 30 years from that one. This is 1997.
This is 1997.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take one good guess. It's probably going to be wrong. I'll take one good guess.
That's okay, yeah. You get surprises on the
tackle. Oh, man.
Like the Raiders?
No.
You guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right. By the way, thanks for staying with us the whole time. I appreciate it.
No problem. The wait for feet.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Here we go. Okay, oh, yeah. Just make sure, because
Close enough,
otherwise I have to crank this up. If you get about that close, it'd be good. And away we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn. Bruce McGowan is off today. When we get to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is NFL players by position. Which defensive tackle registered 46 and a half sacks from 1997 to 2000? Vern?
I'm going to guess Gilbert Brown from the Green Bay Packers. I know I'm probably wrong, but that's just, for some reason, he stuck out of my mind.
And that would be incorrect.
Okay.
Anyone? Now, I think he did play for the Raiders 1 or 2 years, but he didn't make his famous name.
Warren Sapp?
Yes.
Warren Sapp.
Sapp.
There you go.
Good job,
The
Vern.
QB killer. Not killer, killer. QB killer.
Killa.
Now in the Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's right.
Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Buccaneers, that's right. Okay, so we are.
Remember, he took out Steve Young and Jerry Rice in the same game.
Oh.
Knocked them both out.
Same play though.
No, not saying no. No, not
That
that.
would be tough.
Yeah, ain't that
Only Muhammad Ali does it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of boxing, yeah. Well, so we're in the studio here with Paul Nave, the Marin County assassin, and not because he carries a gun, but he's got the 2 Dukes, baby, and his trainer Homer Hall here. So a question for you also is, when do you actually start training for a fight?
Oh, good question.
Well, in the younger days, a lot of times I have about 6 weeks is all. And ideally, I like 3 months, especially now being older. But I get anywhere from 2 to 3 months.
So don't wait too long, because once you get to be like 60 years old, you don't wait 3 months. That goes really.
Oh, it does get very fast. It takes a lot longer to get that type of shape. So
Here's a fun one for both of you. I might get a different answer. Favorite bout with you guys working together?
Oh, us.
Oh, God. My favorite one, I think, was probably the Minnesota fight. Guy from
Reality
Minnesota.
show, yeah.
Yeah, the reality
When
show.
when was that?
2010.
2010.
Yeah, June 4th.
All right. What stuck out about that particular bout?
No, it was.
The knockout.
It
It worked out well for me.
I'm gonna get to that one. It was like Paul was working pretty good, and I'm in the corner. I'm yelling, "Throw the right in, throw it!" You know. And finally, he looks over at me. He's like, okay, but then when he throws it, man, he hits this guy, and he's like, I jumped up off my seat because I thought he had seriously hurt the guy because the guy landed in our corner, from the middle of the ring.
When you're fighting,
Yeah.
how easy is it to, first of all, hear your trainer and then actually really concentrate on what he's saying while you're
You really
boxing?
can't. I mean, you got nobody to fall back on but yourself.
Yeah.
But I do listen. It's hard during the fight to actually know. I know Homer's voice, so
Yeah,
I actually do hear him at times when he's yelling out.
I mean, I would hope that it wouldn't be a situation where you talk so low that he has to say, "Excuse me, what?"
No, but the funny part was after it was over, he says, "Oh, I heard you. I was just waiting for the right moment."
What was the guy
He kept going right in, right in, right in, right in.
Is that the guy that had to be carried out of the
Yeah,
ring?
that's the guy.
Lumbiarski or Mike? God,
No,
what was
it's
it?
Schlins. Daniel
Oh, Schlentz, yeah, Schlentz.
Better him than me.
Yeah.
Now, after you have a fight like, because I'm guessing that all your fights are fairly clean. There's been no like dirty play between you and your opponent, where each guy has to get like let's say hitting after the bell, that sort of thing. Have you ever had anything like that, or do you
Oh,
usually?
a few times. There's certain guys. I mean, when I fought Greg Hogan, I fought him 3 times. I'm world champion, and he had to hate his opponent. It's just the way he was. He had to get his game face on. He hated his opponent. So it's all right. I used to tell him he can talk all he wants. He's in for one hell of a fight. Fortunately for me, that's what happened. He's always in for one hell of a fight.
Did you win all 3 fights?
I won the first one convincingly. The second one he wins by 1 point, split decision, and the third and final one was a draw.
Wow.
How about that?
Can't get too much closer.
How about
to
that? Yeah. And Paul, when you get ready for a fight, let's just say it's fight day, and you've taken care of everything on your to-do list, where you can finally get down to fighting. Is there a passage? Is there a prayer? Is there a particular song that you play in your head? Is it just before you go out there?
It's hard to say. I mean, I have my songs I play. When I do go out there, I plan on playing for this fight coming up. But no, I kind of think about the game plan that Homer and I have drawn up, and hopefully when I get out there it works. If it doesn't, I got to figure out, make something. That's what experience does anyhow. You find out what works and make that work for you.
How often do you have to completely change the game plan?
Not too often. I mean, the bottom line is you're out there, you can get hit in the head. You better do 2 things: move your head or get your hands up.
I hear the first rule of boxing, Homer, is don't be afraid to get hit, because it's going to happen.
That's true.
Unfortunately, the best fighters we got.
The good thing I like about Paul is that with his experience, he's able to adjust on the job. He makes adjustment so I don't have to pretty much say anything that's going to. He'll come back and he'll tell me, well, guys, doing this, I'm going to do a little something different. Instead of me telling him, he's telling me, well, yeah, I got fed. This is what I'm going to do.
I'm not sure if you actually asked this question, but like just before a fight, is there any kind of specific music that like maybe
They're actually
Rocky music?
There's
or
certain,
something
well,
like
not
that?
so much to get me jazzed up, but certain songs that I enjoy that I think will help. I guess technically yes, it gets me driven and the crowd going. But I was going to mention real quick. Homer was just talking about the same thing we spoke about earlier. The guy Bill Cervantes years ago. I'd go out there and I'd wing. I'd get top shape, 5, 6, 7 rounds, whatever, and usually 6-round fights. And I'd go out there and wing and try to take the guy out. And I was fortunate enough to knock a few guys out. And a guy named Bill Cervantes from Headley Marcus Kerr named me. The first was the Marin Mauler, and then the Marin County Assassin.
Yeah.
But anyhow, what I was getting at is now I'm older. I use my experience. I'm a little smarter, and I more or less I go out there instead of winging and trying to take the guy out. I assess the situation, and I start trying to see what works and what doesn't work as far as. I'll see what he's trying to do, get my distance down.
What is weakness?
Yeah, I'll throw certain combinations, see what works. If it's working, go in.
It's interesting. My question to you about like music and stuff like that. It just reminded me. I've told Vern the story before. You always have to watch what you put on your iPod. Because I was at the gym one time and I was in pretty decent shape and I was doing a bunch of pull-ups and I was on I was listening to one of the Rocky type things, right? Yeah, of course that helps, right? And I'm on pull-up number 15 and on comes Barry Manilow.
Oh,
I
wow.
dropped like a noodle right on the. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, you got to turn your man card in.
I-
Make it very mental.
Listen, I told you what happened before. Someone put "I feel pretty" Oh, so pretty. I almost got beat up by a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, good thing it wasn't your ringtone. Hey, Homer. How many years back do you go back with Paulie?
Oh God, I've known Paul since he was 12.
12 years old.
Yeah.
It begs the question: what did you think the first time you saw him walk in the gym?
Well, you know, Paul's always.
Or maybe had you heard about him before you saw him?
Well, I had heard about him, but everybody's heard about the Nave, so you know, there's no strangers. But when you seen Paul, it was like, here's this little tough guy, this little firefoot, you know. You just knew he was tough, you know. It's just the way his character, you know. But he was a nice guy. I mean, you know, I think I probably had more problems with Andy than I did with Paul.
Andy Nance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Andy was Jack. We kept Andy around, kind of keep him out of you know
Jail?
No, it's just, he was just mischief. He wasn't a jail type of everything. He's a prankster. You know, yeah. But
Andy Nance,
he was a nice guy. He was a prankster.
Yeah, the boxing contemporary of Paulie. Hey, Paulie, where does the toughness come from? I mean, you always been known as the tough, nice guy out of there, but tough even at 12.
Well,
tough,
that's the thing is because you didn't come from like some poor ghetto family.
You know what?
You certainly didn't get your tail kicked as a kid. So I mean, the toughness had to come from somewhere.
I just grew up with eight brothers,
Right.
eight
Oh,
kids,
that'll
7
do.
brothers and sisters, and grew up in an area in a park where you grew up fast in west end of Sangerfeld, and just the family. I mean, just the way it was. You were tough, you know. I mean, it's not good for my longevity in life now. I'll never ever quit that way unless I can't move. So the way I stop, I'll never quit, no matter what.
But you're saying this will be your last fight coming?
This will be, gosh, basically 30 years of fighting professionally. It started in 1985.
You're not gonna pull a Brett Favre and take a couple years off and come back, take a couple years off. You know.
I've told Homer, this is it, and unless I can get offered a couple $1 million to fight somebody in Vegas, that will be the only difference. Other than that, I'm done. You know, it's been a long, great career. I've met, all my goals. I won a world title. I've won 5, titles, one being a world title, and I fought some of the best fighters ever lived, and sparred with some of the best fighters ever lived.
And then did you find once you got the world title, is it boom, everyone's now after you, right?
Well, yeah, it's ironic. I worked my way up and finally got that opportunity to fight for a title. And again, it was fighting the guy I was in who's going to grade his 17 knockouts, and I was fortunate enough to beat him. And I got the Hagen fight, and I was going to retire had I lost, because that's your whole, how you say, goal in life as a fighter, to get that opportunity to fight for a world title. And I was fortunate enough to win. And then I lost the second fight, but I never said I was going to retire after that. And ironically, I just kept going on, and finally I had 280 discs in the back between one of my fights, and I was retired.
That'll slow you down. Okay, stay with us. We're kind of cut to our second commercial break here, and then I want to ask Homer about, we were talking before we started the show about forfeiting some of the purse based on the weight classes. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, here's our second commercial break trivia question. It's NFL players by position. Which injury did strong safety Lawyer Malloy suffer late in Super Bowl 36? You remember that. The first 3 emails with the correct answer won a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Here is the question. Which injury did strong safety Lawyer Malloy suffer late in Super Bowl 36? All right? Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, and we will be right back.
36, he's going to be 80 years old to be alive.
Was he playing for the Patriots?
I think so. You better know history, otherwise you better be
Lawyer
80.
Malloy, Super Bowl 36.
I just see Ernie. That's Ernie. Ernie from
Yeah,
Ernie.
He's some of the neck injury.
All right, thanks. My 3 sons, Ernie.
Great.
You got a neck injury, or maybe I don't know. I think maybe.
1936.
No. Super Bowl 36.
Oh,
Super Bowl.
Oh, sorry. They burned when you weren't even born yet.
Oh,
That's where my dad was born.
Yeah.
36.
Yeah.
Like that 1930.
My mom 29, my dad 27. But get this, okay, so Eva she just turned 50, all right? So
Your wife?
Yeah, so just imagine that age, right? Take a guess as to when her grandfather was born. Yeah, he's not around.
Grandfather.
Yeah, he's not around
18, 1918.
1895.
I mean, that would be kind of like,
Yeah.
that would be normal, right? You ready for this? 1861.
Oh my God.
4 years before President Lincoln was shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Grandpa, do you remember the war? You mean the Civil War?
Yeah, the Civil War,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah, her dad was,
Wow.
the grandfather was 67 when her dad was born.
Damn.
Yeah.
So the father had her very, very old.
He was also old, yeah. There's 104 years difference between
Oh
her
my
brother's a
God.
couple years younger than this guy.
Something rotten in Denmark.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, he married a 37-year-old
Yeah,
woman.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still had the vibrant
Especially back
goods.
then.
Yeah.
Now they got all kind of special.
First
Yeah.
one, yeah.
That was pretty wild. Lived after getting kicked by a horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going to get this question answered and move on to some fun stuff. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
When we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is NFL players by position. Which injury did strong safety Lawyer Malloy suffer late in the game in Super Bowl number 36?
Gosh. We were talking off air, Homer. Wait, good.
Okay, and he played for the Patriots.
Yeah, he
and
played for the
against
Patriots.
Panthers. Broken arm.
Broken
Broken arm.
arm.
You remember that play? He broke his arm. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
okay, you'll have to YouTube it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it'll be there. Okay, so we are still in the studio here. Thanks, guys, for staying with us. Paul Nave, are you still world champion? Former. Okay.
Once champion, always champion. Hopefully.
There you
But
go.
he's going out a champion. By the way, have you addressed when this bout is and when?
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, let's promote it.
Yeah.
After the final bout here at the Marin Civic Center, in the Marin Center Exhibit Hall, I turned pro 1985. My first pro fight was there, and I'm coming back there. So it's Marin Center Exhibit Hall. It's January 30th, 2015, about a month and a half.
There you go.
January 30th.
What time of the day?
7 o'clock at night.
7 o'clock at night. All right.
Doors open at 6.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so now I have a question here for your trainer, Homer Hall. We were talking earlier about forfeiting some of the purse based on the agreed weight. Can you explain that?
Well, what usually happens is when promoters are promoting a fight and the match is made, there's an agreed weight that each fighter comes in. And this is usually stipulated during the world title fight, mostly, where, you get the champion and the number one contender, and, and based on sometimes, they have to determine the weight. Most of the time when you're determining weight is usually what's best for your fighter.
Yeah.
So what happens is that once the weight is agreed upon, if either party, which sometimes basically it's between the champion and the challenger comes in, that if one is overweight, then it has to go back. He's giving a reasonable amount of time to make the weight. If he can't make the weight, in order for the bout to go on, it has to either in some cases they redo the contracts to make it fight at a different weight. In most cases, one fighter has to forfeit a part of his purse.
And do you find that any fighters will purposely gain a little bit more weight, even if it's worth giving up some of the money?
I'm going to defer it over to Paul.
Now, what happens here, if the person doesn't make weight, the fight can be off.
Yeah.
So it was always very important for me to make weight. And even in the non-world title fights or championship fights, when people don't make weight, they end up, especially on undercards, if it's 2 or 3 pounds difference, the person who's overweight, in order to still have the fight with his opponent, if his opponent will accept it, they have to forfeit some of their purse and give so much couple hundred around, etc., to their opponent.
I mean, is it a percentage usually? Like 10%, 20%?
Not usually so much, so much per round.
Per round.
Possibly or flat, $200, $300, $400, depending how much
their purses. Yeah. And it's amazing. There's so many classes now. Like we were talking about this earlier. That some of what's the class that's got like the smallest amount of gap? Like like light featherweight or something.
Well,
where it's like 3 pounds in between.
Lightweight in junior lightweight is 130, 135, so that's 5 pounds.
That's 5 pounds. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to go from one to the other.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
Well, the same. One other comment on the weight in world title fights. No matter what, if you're a welterweight, it's 147. Super lightweight is 140. Junior middleweight 154. Middleweight 160. You can't be over that limit at all.
Yeah, these are exact.
To fight for a title, be sanctioned for the title, and fight for the title.
Yeah.
If you're overweight a few pounds and for a world title fight, it's not a world title fight.
If I could find someone who was exactly 188 and 13 ounces, but I'm sorry, I couldn't find anybody, so I'm in the class by myself.
Now, boxing's been around for a long time, many years. So, having said that, I'm just curious as to what your opinions are, being in the fight game, on the whole mixed martial arts, the MMA, that's just really kind of burst in the scene within the last, certainly at least within the last 10 years.
Yeah, the MMA's it's unique. It's basically fighting. I mean, it's a brutal, unforgiving game. I mean, when I look at it, boy, there's some life-enduring injuries,
Mm-hmm.
But they stop a lot quicker. So they either tap out or they get hurt pretty good. They stop them quick. So
How good of boxers are these guys?
it depends. I mean, it'd be interesting to me. I wear 8-ounce gloves. I weigh up to 140 in professional boxing. From the lowest weights up to 147 welterweight, you wear 8-ounce gloves in competition. And then even if you're a few ounces over 147, anything over 147 up to super heavyweight are 10-ounce gloves. But I understand that for where I wear 8-ounce gloves as a welterweight, in MMA I'd wear 4-ounce gloves.
Wow.
I can imagine it's 4-ounce gloves. Wow.
Yeah.
So I understand why they don't last long. Someone gets it.
And in the boxing game, what is the background for most of the fighters? I mean, I know you had a strong wrestling background before you really took over, boxing like full time. But any similarities with that? I mean, there might be some maybe formal, martial arts guys, or it's just purely, boom, learning the left, learning the right, hitting the ropes, hitting the speed bag, and just learning the other way.
As far as MMA folks,
As far as boxing.
yeah, the boxing, the wrestling. I mean, I always trained real hard. And I always wanted, I enjoyed the competitiveness of it, the challenge. So those were the harder sports: the boxing, the wrestling. And boxing was always really unique because your well-being was on the line.
Mm.
It made a big difference. And there's nobody to turn to but yourself when you're in that ring when you go and get stuff. So it was that challenge. Right now, people tell me I'm way too old. You can't fight. You can't do this. Well, I love that challenge.
I know. I mean, I'm in the best. Of course, this isn't saying much. I'm in the best shape of my life now, because I've been working out and stuff. But,
Did they say if you really, really want to get in good shape, train like a boxer? Homer might agree with that one.
Oh, absolutely. A boxer has a regimen that's just really unforgiving, and at the end of the day, when it's over, you're ready to go lay down.
I can imagine. You can tell just by looking at Paul. You can tell he's a good boxer. You know why?
Why's that?
Because he's a good-looking guy. He doesn't
Hey,
have his
there
nose
you
in
go.
four different
Hey,
places.
there you go.
But there
It's been broken a few times.
I was gonna ask you, what-
Looks pretty good.
Worst injury you ever suffered in your career?
Broke a thumb, hematoma to my ear.
Oh.
Gosh, what else? Boxing.
Yeah.
I just cuts. I got 24 stitches in the world title fight.
What about the Hagen fight? Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. With the guy.
24
Yeah.
stitches in my eye.
Wow.
Yeah, it must have swelled up quite a bit while the fight was going
The
on.
blood would never stop. I was very fortunate it didn't stop it. I mean, actually, I would have won had they stopped it, but you never know early in the fight if you're ahead or not.
Yeah.
And I just kept fighting, and it went all 12 rounds.
One of those things where people said, "Oh, what happened to you?" and you just go, "Well, you should see the other guy."
Yeah.
And if you see some of the pictures, you would say, well, he won the fight.
Yeah, exactly. See, all this
Yeah.
talk is making me want to do 3 push-ups, take my milk and magnesium, and take a nap. Okay, so let me ask you about women's boxing. Any thoughts?
The women's fight, originally I didn't think much of it, but there is some girls that are very good fighters, and you have to give them credit. They work hard. The interesting thing for the women, or fortunate for them, they can move the ladder awful quick. There's very few girls in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
to
guess
fight
that
for a world
movie,
title, you
Million
fight
Dollar
8
Baby, really worked.
fights or something.
Yeah.
And some of these women have made the crossover to MMA. I'm thinking of Ana Hulatan comes to mind, and she's fighting down in the Philippines most of the But I guess there's other countries. I guess where the women's game is really, really big, unlike the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because you'd think the U.S. would be big in that compare. I don't know. I would think the U.S. would be a leader in with that kind of
God,
stuff.
boy, yeah, man, Mexico and the Philippines, women's game is huge for whatever reason.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
interesting. And do you think they train? Or you might know this. Do you think they train the same way, or do you train any women?
Yeah, I have. Unfortunately for me, I have I trained 2 lady boxers. One actually is attending USF, and she's in Afghanistan in August. She's really good, and she last year we had the opportunity to fight the women's champion from England, and so she done very well against her. In fact, she won. So I've had great success with a couple girls. I started with a young lady, Arwen. She actually won the Golden Gloves when she turned pro. She had a few professional fights, but it just the sponsorship and then being able to train and work because she was actually doing construction too.
I mean, there's probably not as much money.
Not as much
obviously.
money, no.
But do you train them the same way as you were training men?
Well, for me, I do. I just because you come in and I'm training, you want to box, you're gonna box.
I mean, still the body blows. And,
Well, yeah. Well, with Nargis, because she was a basketball player turned boxer, she got a scholarship to USF to actually play basketball. And she came and we had a boxing class we were teaching, Angela and I, and she came in and started boxing. So she dumped the scholarship to become a boxer.
Wow.
So I started training her and everybody said, oh, she's not going to last. I said, I'll take her, because she was aggressive.
How tall is she?
She's about 6 feet. And so once I got the basics down, I just started putting it in with the guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, if she's 6 feet, she probably has a decent reach.
Oh, man, she can hit, too. She
Wow,
hit.
dropped it. What was it? Was it for? Was she going to play for Jennifer Azzi, and then she just
She
dumped
was
it?
on the team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I guess you have to look at, okay, how much money can I make in the WNBA? How much money can I make it in there? Yeah. Anything else you want to ask the guys?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about how the fight game is, I guess, the following in different countries. I not having seen about in Europe or the Ukraine or whatever, but you guys have traveled a lot more than I have. But any particular place, continent where the fight game is really, really over the top from a fandom standpoint?
Still in Vegas, absolutely, and then I would even say in the UK.
In the UK.
UK is pretty. They get big crowds.
Yeah, well, and for me, I would have to say the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And Thailand has it's really, boxing is really a big thing in Thailand too.
Wow.
All right, guys, thank you very much.
And
Paul Nave?
again, the bout is
January 30th.
January 30th. And you're usually crafty with like a headliner. Is this like a farewell to arms kind of? What's the theme for this one?
One for the ages.
One for the
I like
ages.
that.
One for the
good.
ages.
And your trainer, Homer Hall, will be right there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of like a swan song for me. I'm trying to figure out maybe I got to get a new profession now that Paul's.
January 30th, the Event Center, San Rafael, California. Doors open at 6 and let the games begin at 7.
Why don't you go out in a blaze?
It should be about 5 pounds.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, we like that. How many rounds? You predicting?
Me?
Yeah.
And I'd just like to say,
Two.
Three.
for all you sports
Two.
fans,
I take it back.
come out and see Burn Glenn live.
Oh!
Hang on, that's it.
Announcing the fight.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Well,
that works.
I'll
Okay,
I'll
guys, we're gonna- here's
tailor
our-
my tuxedo for that one.
Okay, here's our third and final trivia question. Which Cleveland Browns punt returner, became the first to run 2 punts back for scores in a game against their rival franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers? All right, here's the question again. Which Cleveland Browns punt returner became the first to run 2 punts back for scores in a game against their rival franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers? Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will have some closing comments.
I'm gonna guess Josh Cribbs of the
Josh
Cleveland Browns.
Cribbs.
I'm gonna
Yes,
that's my
it is.
guess.
That's it.
That'll be my
Josh
guess.
Cribbs.
my answer. I'm sticking with it.
Josh Cribb. I was gonna say that. I was thinking
Is
that.
that it, or we have one
He's
more?
back with.
There's just a 2-minute closing.
He's back playing with. He just played against Cleveland, his old team. He was running back punch for.
Well, he was at the Raiders, and then he just didn't for like a cup of coffee, and then
And then but he just was in the game. I think he was playing. Oh, he's running back for Cincinnati.
oh, for the Bengals,
Yeah, the Bengals when they just played.
They just
Cleveland.
destroyed
They
Cleveland.
destroyed Cleveland. Yeah.
Johnny Manziel's
Didn't look too
NFL
good, huh?
debut. No,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like me. It's almost like what could I say? What was the guy that used to back up Steve Young for the 49ers?
his backup.
Yeah.
It wasn't Druckenmiller. It was,
No.
It wasn't Garcia.
No, it was,
Sean Hill.
it wasn't Sean Hill. It was the other guy, Bono.
Oh, Steve Bono. Steve Bono.
Yeah.
I just saw him.
You
I just
saw
saw
him,
Steve.
yeah.
I just saw Steve and his wife Tina at a charity function.
Yeah, it was Bono.
1 second.
That's okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
we're just closing.
Okay,
We're just. You want to just hang out for 2? We're just.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say this is the last 2 minutes here, and we'll just
Sure.
see if you guys can answer the question. Here we go.
All right.
Ready? Here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn. And here's our third and final trivia question: was which Cleveland Browns punt returner became the first to run 2 punts back for scores in a game against their rival franchise, the Pittsburgh Steelers? And your answer was?
I had answered. I had thought about Josh Cribbs of the Cleveland Browns.
Unfortunately, that's not
No.
correct. Ready?
Yeah.
Eric Metcalf.
Eric Metcalf, number
Terry's
21.
son.
Ah,
Terry
Eric
Metcalf.
Metcalf.
I knew
Yep.
it was somebody's son. I kept trying to.
I'm not sure why we're getting that squeaking noise there. Okay, guys, here's our thoughts for the day. Hard work. This is good for talking to a boxer, right? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And a true man of character knows his limitations but doesn't accept them. I like that. That's good for boxing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Words to live by.
Vern, any last words before we cut out here? We got 1 minute.
Well, you guys got. Boxing is it's been around, well over 100 years, something like that.
John L. Sullivan.
Yeah.
100 rounds.
Rarely has ever changed. It's for me, it's one of the classic forms of just proving, who's best. I am curious as to if it'll ever return to the unlimited rounds until someone just can't go on. I know they had to.
Never.
It will not happen. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
The old Marcus of Queensbury rule.
Okay.
Right? Get in your corner.
Well, so much for that then.
Right, but we were talking about that, how MMA is kind of like that. As soon as you get up, man, they just start pounding you.
That's right.
All right, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101 because we're going to be giving away vacations. And we're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective. And thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
Right.
Okay, that's it.